Hi guys, this is Tech Howdy. I welcome you to another video tutorial on creating an ASP.NET Core application with Angular 8. We are creating a featured image slider. In the last video tutorial, we finished coding the featured image gallery API that returns the featured images. We have created our service class. Now we need to consume this gallery service class that we created in Angular in an Angular component. So let's go ahead and create our first component where we will write some code that is going to call this service class and the API method within it. So to create a component, first thing that you want to do is open your terminal. Make sure you are in the right folder. If you're not, then you can cd into your client app. And once you are in your client app, we will create the component. So first we will create the home component, and the command to create our home component would be ng, which is Angular, g, which is for to generate, c for component, and then we will create our home component inside the home folder. So we are going to call it home, and that's going to be it. So let's hit enter. So now if you look at our application, that's your client app, you'll see a folder called as home has been created. If you expand it, you should have 4 files. One is the specs for the component, one is the component class, one is the HTML, and one is the CSS file. Now in our application, we need to have a navbar at the top. So let's create a navbar on top. So we are not going to create a component in this particular project where we have a component dedicated for the navbar. Instead, I will go to the app component.html and I'll remove this default code that's over here, which says welcome to Angular, and I'm going to paste in the navbar code that I have already coded. This is simple Bootstrap 4 code, and if you're not familiar with Bootstrap 4, I recommend you to read the Bootstrap documentation. But Bootstrap is very similar to HTML, and all we are using is class, which basically provides styling to your HTML elements. So here, just before the router outlet, I'm going to paste the navigation code. I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to run the application. I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some errors, but we'll see what errors they are going to get so we can work with together and fix those errors. So let's run our application. So the application is loaded without any errors. That's fine. But you notice that we are not seeing any bootstrap styling. Even though we are not seeing any errors, we know that something is wrong because we are not seeing any bootstrap over here. And we need to add bootstrap references in order for the bootstrap styling on these elements appears on the page. So let's go ahead and add bootstrap styling. So to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to go inside our client app and search for the angular.json file, so which is over here. Inside the angular.json file, we need to add references for Bootstrap. So we are going to search for the scripts tag and we are going to add references inside the script tags. You'll see an empty script array which is present over here. We are going to add references to our script tags over here. But we cannot add references unless we first install the packages. Now, if you go to this node modules folder, node underscore modules folder, there are a bunch of pre-available packages for you, but there is no Bootstrap package. So which means we have to add Bootstrap package in our application through Node Package Manager so that we can reference it in this project. So to add it, we will go to our terminal and Let's open a new terminal, and then first we will cd into the client app, and now we will type in the commands to install Bootstrap, Popper.js, and jQuery in this application. So let's do this. So first thing that I want to do is I want to update my node package manager. So I'm going to run the command sudo npm update. Now if you are on a Mac like me, you have to use the sudo command before the npm command. But if you are on a Windows, you don't need to use the sudo command. So when I use the sudo command on Mac, it's going to ask me for my Mac password. Provide your password, then hit enter. And now the terminal will process this command and will update npm and all the packages. So all the packages that I have there, if anything needs an update, it's going to update. Once npm has been updated, then I will add the required packages for my project. So the command has successfully run. I've got a message saying that in order to update the npm globally, I need to run the npm command with a -g over here. But I don't need to do that now, since I just wanted to update npm for my current project, which I have completed. Now the next thing I want to do is first go ahead and install jQuery, because Bootstrap requires jQuery. So I'm going to run the command sudo npm install jQuery -save. I'm sorry, it should be jQuery space dash dash save, two dashes or two hyphens. So the command is sudo npm install jQuery space dash dash save. I will add these commands in the video description so you can copy paste them from there. So now hit enter, and now npm package for jQuery will be installed. Once we have installed npm package for jQuery, what we need to do next is install the npm package for Bootstrap 4. So all I'm going to do is sudo npm install, and I'm going to type bootstrap dash dash save. If you don't provide any version number, you will get the latest available version of the package. So sudo npm install bootstrap dash dash save, hit enter, and npm will now install the Bootstrap package for this project. Finally, Bootstrap also requires us to install Popper.js. So we are going to install Popper.js. So sudo npm install Popper .js dash dash save. Once again, all the commands will be available in the video description. I'm going to hit enter, and now npm package and manager will install Popper.js. Don't worry about this npm audit fix command. If you want to run it, you can run it, but it's not important at this moment. So our packages have been installed. Now what we can do is close the terminal. So now the next thing that we want to do is, in the angular.json file, we will add our references for the scripts. Make sure you use the correct script tag, the first script tag that you see in the file, because there are two script tags. One would be somewhere here. So make sure you add the references in the correct script tag array. Inside the scripts, I'm going to place the references for the packages that we install. Uh, these packages will be installed in the node modules folder, and if you open your node modules folder, you'll see a Bootstrap package. You'll find the references as you see in this path. You go to the jQuery folder. Inside jQuery folder, you should have the dist folder, and inside dist folder, you should have the jQuery.min.js file. So I'm not going to go and open all these folders. You can check it yourself. And these are the references that we have added to our node modules folder and the packages that we need, which are inside the node modules folder. Now also let's add reference to Bootstrap CSS. So the Bootstrap CSS reference also has been added. Now we will save this file. We will stop our application since we have installed packages. We need to rebuild the application. Otherwise, we will not see the changes. So let's go ahead and start the application again. So now when the application starts, you will see that Bootstrap has loaded. We can see our navbar and we can see the styling has also been applied and all our packages are being loaded. You can go to Inspect tab, go to your Network tab, refresh the page, and you will see the scripts.js. If you look at the response, you will see that these are the files that are being loaded. They are minified and they are being that's the minified version that we have referenced and they are being loaded. Now we can start adding the required components. So the first component that we need to do is the home component. Inside the home component, we'll have a featured image slider and the remaining components under the slider. So to add the home component, we will go to our terminal, and inside the terminal, we can use same terminal here. So inside the same terminal, we are going to clear our terminal and add the new command. Add the command to add a new component. So we're going to create the featured slider component. So featured slider is a carousel. So what we want to do here is when we create the ng generate component command, we are going to create a folder for carousel, and then inside that folder, so featured slider component. So inside the folder, we are going to create the featured slider component because we can have many types of carousel. One of them would be a featured slider carousel. So that's why I added it inside a folder. So now when you look at your client app, you should have a carousel folder. So let's look at it. So here is the carousel folder, and then inside the carousel folder I have the featured slider component, which has the 4 files related to this component. Now let's open the HTML and the TS file so that we can start writing our code. So first we go to the HTML file, and here I'm going to clean up this HTML code that's added by Angular, and I'm going to paste my own code. All this code will be available in DevOps repos where you can use it in your application. So now let's save this. And now I need to display this featured slider on my home page, this component itself. So to display it on my home page, first thing that I want to do is go to my home component. So let's go to the home component.html. And here I'm going to remove this default Angular HTML, and I'm going to reference my featured slider component here. So the way I reference this is app dash the component name, which is featured dash slider. So if you go to the featured slider component.ts class, you can find the selector component over here. To select this component, you have to use this name. So that's all I have done. Use the name here inside the home component. So now what we want to do is save this and go and open our browser, and let's see if we can display this. So it's not being displayed. Let's see why it's not being displayed. Oh yes, that's because we have to add routing. So if I go to my app, so when we click home, you see this hashtag over here. This should be home so that we can see the home component. And that's only possible if we add the route for home component. So let's go and add the route. So to add the route, so inside your client app, go and find the app routing module .ts file. Inside the routing module .ts file, if you look at the routes, we have an empty array. We have not yet defined any routes. So we have created components, but we have not yet defined any routes. So let's define some routes here. So first thing that we want to do is inside these curly braces, we want to specify the path, and the path is going to be for home. If somebody wants to access the home component, so they will use the home word inside the URL. So what we did here, we said if somebody is accessing this path, then the component that needs to be loaded is the home component. As soon as you add the home component, the reference should be added over here. Now, if somebody goes to your application like here and does not add the home component, but when they click here, they should still be redirected to the home page. So this URL should be your default home page without any home word concatenated to it. So in the URL, this URL should also redirect me to home. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'll create an empty component path, and inside this empty path, I'm going to specify my home component, and I'll add one more attribute here, which is path match, and it should be full. So it doesn't matter if you use single quotes or double quotes. So now I'm going to save this. Now also I have to specify that if somebody tries to access a path that is not available in my application. So for example, I go to my application and I don't have, so we see it's being loaded now as soon as I added the path. So if I had to go to some random path like this, it does not exist. So for that, I need to make sure I handle that as well. So I'm going to put 2 stars or asterisks and say redirect to home component. So redirect to /home. So as soon as it hits here, it goes to this path and displays the home path. Let's save this, go back. You already have seen that the home page is now loaded. If I click on home, we have not yet add an enable router link, so it's going to still show the empty hashtag. But yeah, if we go to home and hit enter, we should be redirected to home. If we add some random path, we should still be redirected to home. So now we have enabled routing as well for the home page. Now we need to add our featured slider. Featured slider HTML is already present on top here. Since we are not loading the images dynamically as of yet, we cannot see it. Now let's add some CSS styling so that this looks pretty. So let's do that. So we will go to our featured sliders component CSS, because that's the component that we are loading on the home page. So we will add the CSS styling for it over here. So I'm just going to paste the CSS code that is required for this project and this component, and I'm going to save this. And once again, all this code will be available in your DevOps repo. So I'm not going to teach you guys what is CSS and HTML. That's like the basic of web development, and you can learn that on your own. So I've added some styling here. Let's go back to our component. And now if you notice that the styling has been applied, and It looks much better than before. And now we have these arrows over here pointing left and right. That's to navigate to different images. But as of yet, we don't have any images. We have to add images, or we have to load images in this dynamically, which we will do in the next video tutorial. So we are getting to the end of this video tutorial series for creating a featured image slider. So in the next video tutorial, we'll try to finish it and add the component. So for now, please like and subscribe my channel Tech Howdy. The code will be available in DevOps repo and the link will be in the video description. Thank you.